Here's 9 powerful tactics backed by behavioral psychology you can use to get people to trust you as a real estate agent. Because as you know, there's a cultural angst against realtors. If you look at the industry, most agents are part-time, have few credentials outside of real estate license, or aren't tuned into what's happening in the local markets. People often hear stories, encounter situations of agents doing a bad job. You'll see terrible listing photos, skipping inspections, overpricing the houses. You know what I'm talking about. So as an agent, you're left in a marketplace where you have to deal with tons of skepticism at scale, even if your service is top tier, you're an ethical person, hardworking person, and you know exactly what's going on in the marketplace. So simultaneously, you have to deal with that skepticism, but your goal is to get thousands of local homeowners to undoubtedly see you as their number one go-to agent they want to list their houses with. But when the starting point is that they don't trust a word you say, how do you bridge that gap? Well, this is something that's been very well studied in behavioral psychology, in economical behavior, and a lot of different fields. So this is something that's been studied for hundreds of years. So these following 9 things will help you achieve that outcome as quickly as possible. So the first thing you want to achieve with your marketing is going to be affinity. And this is related to people trusting people that are similar to themselves. So because of this, you want to share yourself in the marketing that you do. You want to get the homeowner to see a good picture about you and who you are as a person. Share your background, share your experience, philosophy, and fraternity. And to give you a quick example on this, easiest way to think about it is that if you look at an average real estate agent's page on social media, the only thing you'll see is really going to be things related to real estate. You'll only see pictures of houses, you only see real estate articles, maybe you hear about interest rates, but you never really knew who that realtor actually is. And when you think about it, it's very difficult for the homeowners to see that you are similar to them if the only thing that you show them is just pictures of houses. So instead of doing that, think about as an example the fraternity. If you have a hobby that you do, let's say you like to play soccer, or you like to go to the gym, or you like football, whatever your hobby may be, you want to share those things in the marketing that you do. Because this way, the homeowner will see, okay, well, here's this real estate agent, but this is also a person that maybe likes to go biking, or maybe this person that also likes football, just like me, right? And that's going to build the trust in them. Additionally, you can also share your background. Maybe you studied in a certain college. Maybe you had a story about when you were in the army. Anything like that is going to be building that affinity with the homeowner, because they'll get a good picture, number one, of who you are as a person, but they'll also be able to relate to you in a way where, okay, well, maybe they went to a college as well, or maybe they went to a college that was nearby them, right? And also this applies to your philosophy. What sort of beliefs do you have about the world? What do you believe about money? What do you believe about the houses? What kind of houses should people live in, right? All these types of things, you want to share those beliefs, because if a homeowner shares that belief with you, even if it's just a one thing, right? Maybe they have lived in the same area, or maybe they have worked in the same job as you before, right? All these types of things, if you get the one of those connection points, that's going to be a massive trust builder, just like it is in real life. Let's say you meet somebody in real life and they say, okay, well, I lived in this area, right, 20 years ago. And then you're like, okay, well, I lived there as well, right? That's automatically going to be building massive trust and rapport with you two together. The second way you can quickly build trust is by focusing on a particular niche. A lot of times when I see real estate agents, they may be just saying, well, I serve everybody in every single market, right? Or I serve all the people in California. And of course, that may sound good for a real estate agent, right? Thinking, okay, well, if I had a listing maybe 50 miles away, right? No problem, right? I would travel to that place. But at the end of the day, if you're being for everybody, you're actually not being for anybody. And because of this reason, the easiest way to kind of think about it is that, let's say you're hiring a doctor. You wanted to hire a doctor for your knee surgery or for your brain, anything like that, right? But the surgery would be very, very important, right? It would be something that would be very directly related to your health and to your life overall. Now, when you are hiring that doctor, let's say that would be a surgeon, right? Would you hire a neurosurgeon specifically specialized in brain, or would you hire just a general practitioner, just a general surgeon? Of course, you would go for the doctor with that special kind of like knowledge and skills and everything else and experience related to that specific problem. And the same exact thing applies to people hiring a real estate agents. If a person wants to sell a luxury house, they want to sell a $10 million house, $20 million house, they're generally going to hire a real estate agent that's going to be specialized in that exact niche. And the same applies to different markets. Let's say I was hiring a person to sell my house in Scottsdale, right? I was trying to hire a real estate agent in Scottsdale. Well, I would probably not just hire a real estate agent that specialized in Arizona. I would hire a real estate agent that specialized in Scottsdale. And so because of this reason, being in a certain niche is going to help you tremendously, also because of the marketing aspect of it, but also because your listings are coming from the same area. You're able to show them, okay, well, I sold this house here, I sold this house here, I sold this house here, right? They're not all scattered throughout the area. And so number 2 is going to be niche. If you focus on a specific geographic or a target market, you are being for a certain type of a customer, that automatically is going to be building trust. Now, this is also directly related to the affinity. Let's say you don't have a niche yet, right? You're just a real estate agent and you work a very wide range of people. Well, you can think about the affinity. What is your personal background? What type of people have you worked previously with? And if you are a person, let's say you're a regular homeowner yourself, right? You're a 30-year-old, 40-year-old, and you're a homeowner, you're a dad, etc., right? Well, you probably want to pick a niche that's going to be very similar to that person. You want to find homeowners that are similar to you. Maybe they're dads as well. Maybe they're family people, right? And maybe they live in similar houses. Let's say you were trying to attract a luxury niche. Well, then you want to become a person, right? That's going to be relating to those luxury people. You want to wear a certain type of a suit. You want to be in front of certain type of areas. You want to live in a certain type of house, actually yourself as well, right? So when you are picking that niche, pick a niche that's going to be similar to you. Don't pick a niche that's very outside of you. If you're a regular person, right? You live in a regular area. Don't go like 50 miles out and try to target that market. Rather, focus more closely to you, something that you are personally familiar with, and therefore your success in the actual niche could be much more likely to succeed. Number 3 way to build trust quickly with the homeowners is going to be familiarity. And this is related to the mere exposure effect, which has been studied for hundreds of years. And what it means basically is that the more people hear about you, the more people hear and see you, and the more easily they will trust you. Think about it this way. Let's say you meet a coworker for first time ever, right? You're not gonna like them, you're not gonna know them yet, right? You're not necessarily gonna share that much of personal things with them yet. But let's say you meet a person and you've seen them like 100 times, you've seen them 1,000 times throughout the years, right? It's been 5 years, you guys have been working together. Well, obviously at that point, you're gonna trust them automatically more. Not because they're necessarily more trustworthy or anything like that. It's just because you've seen the person over and over again. And the same applies to different brands as well, right? Think about Coca-Cola, right? If you've seen Coca-Cola over and over again since your childhood in different ads, sports event, you've seen it on the shelves of the market, right? So you've seen Coca-Cola a lot, but if you see a soft drink for a first time, it's gonna seem a little odd, right? Like, okay, what is this drink? Should I buy it, right? Or should I just go with Coca-Cola or another familiar drink you're with? So number 3 way is gonna be familiarity. And again, like I said, you wanna build your marketing in a way where people see about you over and over and over again in a scalable way. A lot of times I see that people are doing postcards, right? And they send one postcard per month, like for 1,000 people. And obviously, if you send one postcard a month, people are not going to be building that good of a familiarity with you. If you see somebody for one time a month through a postcard, which you don't even open every single time, right? Well, that's not going to be building trust that much. But as an example, let's say somebody sees you on social media and they see you literally every single day. Literally, they see you 30 times or more per month. And throughout the year, they've seen you 300 times, 400 times. They've seen you walk in different areas. They've seen you talk about different things. They've seen you with different clients, etc., right? Just because of the sheer volume of things happening. Number one, of course, the sort of the stimulus they get, right? By hearing you, by seeing you, doing different things, right? But by also just seeing you a lot, that automatically is going to be building more trust with the homeowners. Number 4 way you can build a lot of trust with the homeowners is through certainty, knowledge, and expertise. And this is directly related to how the homeowner sees you as a person and as a real estate agent. Let me give you 2 examples on this. Let's say you have a real estate agent just starting out, right? They just started the business. They have no idea what's going on with the interest rates, how interest rates affect the housing market. They have no idea about the home selling process, anything like that, right? Usually you will smell a certain type of uncertainty with the realtor, right? But let's say you have a more experienced real estate agent. You have a person who's been in the market for 20 years. They've sold houses in all the areas in the market. They are very well known, and also they have that track record. You can go on their Zillow page and just see houses sold over and over again. So when that real estate agent talks, they communicate a certain type of certainty. They'll know, okay, interest rates are this much higher. This was the case back in 2008. I remember when this was the time, it was this type of market. So what I kind of see happening next is this, and this, right? So that certainty and that knowledge and expertise, the key thing about that though is that the homeowner does not know that about the real estate agent. You need to understand that the homeowner doesn't know who is a better real estate agent than the other. So because of that reason, you can actually communicate that certainty. You can communicate that knowledge you have. You can communicate that expertise that you have. And even if you are not that real estate agent who's been in the market for 20 years, even if you've been a real estate agent for a year, 2 years, 3 years, if you show that knowledge, you show that certainty, you show that expertise through the way you explain things, through the way and the things that you communicate about, that's going to automatically be building that authority and therefore causing the homeowner to trust you more. Number 5 way you can build a lot of trust with the homeowners is going to be credibility. This is factual, logical basis for how your service helps them reach their real estate goals. You want to share data, you want to share statistics, but most importantly, you want to avoid things that are going to be lowering your credibility. And this is something in the real estate industry that many people are actually not even aware of. But when you go to a person's social media page, as an example, and you go to that page and you see things like low quality pictures, you see automated content, you kind of see like memes about something, and automatically, not by necessarily even saying anything, the homeowner is not going to be like, oh, I don't trust this person or anything like that, right? But if they see low quality pictures, or if they see like very political, weird kind of things, or maybe even it's just a messy background in the video, right? That's going to cause negative associations. It's a little bit like if you meet a person for the first time and they have dirty shoes, they have dirty shirt on, right? That automatically is going to cause a little bit of negative associations, lower quality associations. So make sure in your marketing, when you show yourself in it, right? Make sure you have a great background, make sure you have good clothes on, right? Make sure you're showing up as a sharp person who's knowledgeable about things and also generally perceived as sort of like a sharp person who's on top of different things. Now, number 6, to build a lot of trust quickly with the homeowners is going to be related to longevity. And this is related to years in the business, years in the community you have lived in. Now, this is a great advantage most real estate agents are not using, but if you lived in a certain area for longer periods of time, you can share stories about living in that area. You can explain things that you kind of experienced maybe 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, even longer than that, right? And that automatically is going to be building trust, again, through that credibility factor, where the homeowners are simply aware that you have lived in the area and you have done business for a certain amount of years in the area. And this can be very subtle. You can even mention this in a social media post, or you can mention this in an email just by saying something like, back in 1995, right, this is what was happening, or back in 2008, when there was financial crisis, this was what I was doing in the real estate market, right? And then you can go on to the next point. But it's super important that if you do have that advantage, you do have 5 years in the business, 10 years in the business, 20 years in the business, you want to mention those things because that's going to cause people, again, to trust you more simply because of the experience that you have. Now, if you don't have this advantage, right, if you don't have longevity, you can still communicate that through storytelling. You can explain different stories about serving different customers, or you could also communicate that through just being a very knowledgeable and skillful about the area in general. Now, number 7 is going to be a relatable social proof. This is something that I see all the time, real estate agent, that they're trying to do social proof, right, but it's like a screenshot of Zillow, or it's just like a Canva picture or a variety testimonial themselves, right? And those things are not going to cause social proof. Those things are going to be very, very tiny effect that they're going to do. So instead of doing that, you want to show people actual stories. Let's say you make a social media post about that, right? Show the people in that social media post and tell the step-by-step story of them working with you and achieving their dream situations with their houses. Additionally, you can also do independent reviews. So you can do Google business reviews. You can also have a website, and on that website, you can have videos of you interviewing the clients. Now, in the interview itself, it doesn't necessarily have to be like where you guys are sitting together in an actual like a real life situation. You can also do the interview as an example through Zoom or anything like that. But of course, the best type of interview is one where you guys sit together and you guys talk for 5 to 10 minutes and you kind of go from the point where you guys started working together and how did you guys end up selling their houses, and also asking them different questions. But generally with the social proof, right, try to build social proof in a way where the person that sees it, they're gonna relate to it. Maybe you work with a person who was downsizing, right? Maybe back in the day they had family, they had bigger house, right? But now the kids moved away from the house and they wanted to downsize the house to save on the mortgage payments, right? Well, tell that story about how you guys went through that. Also, if you work with a person, obviously that's more just founding a family, right? Maybe there's a couple, maybe just had their first kids, right? Maybe they now need more space to live in, right? Tell that full story about how you guys went to it. Don't just say, hey, this was great working with this real estate agent. Great, this was a person that helped us a lot, right? Don't just say like one line, but rather tell that story. And if you tell that story, that's going to be, again, relatable to those people. And this is all going back to the affinity factor that I mentioned earlier, where people are able to see that, hey, this person is just like me. This person works with people just like me and understands my concerns, my fears, but also my desires relating to the process. Number 8 is going to be demonstration. And this is related to seeing is believing. At the end of the day, there are certain things we can say, right? We can say we're the best real estate agent, we're the #1 go-to agent, etc., etc. But at the end of the day, if you just say I'm a great real estate agent, or it makes sense to hire a real estate agent, right? It's really not going to do anything. Again, like I said, people are very skeptical, and also people have that sort of like a bullshit meter in their heads. So at the end of the day, you don't want to just say I'm a #1 go-to agent, or hiring a realtor makes sense, right? The commission is worth it, right? You don't want to do that, but rather you want to demonstrate those things. Again, if you are a great real estate agent, you are able to help your clients. As you start getting those clients, start showing people the houses you sold for over the asking price. Show people that, okay, you helped this person go from this situation, right, where they had no space, in this situation where they had a bigger space and they found their dream home. But the key thing about it is that you want to demonstrate that. If your main objection right now is, okay, your commission is too high, you want to show people, hey, I helped this person, their commission was $10,000, whatever, right? And you help them sell the house for $30,000 to $40,000 more, right? Or let's say you work with a buyer, again, the same thing, you want to show people, hey, this person paid a commission, right? But they got their dream home, and so on and so forth. So that's the key thing about this, is that you don't want to just say, hiring a real estate agent makes sense, but rather demonstrate that, because seeing is believing. So show people those amazing listing videos you've done. Show people before and after renovations you guys have done. Show people the actual things that are happening in the business as you start helping the client. Maybe they went from this place to this place, right? So you want to show that, because again, seeing is believing, and that way people can get over those particular objections in their head and going into trusting you fully with the transaction. Number 9 is going to be character. And character is the thing that you're selling. That's the service that you are selling as a real estate agent. It is something that people really buy when they actually hire you as a real estate agent. And therefore, it's not about the website. It's not about the CRM. It's not about the social media posts you kind of do, right? It's really that the character in those posts, the character in the marketing that you do, that's the character that people see as something desirable to work with. And so therefore, you want to look at your marketing and ask yourself, are you communicating integrity? Are you communicating core values that are likely to be in alignment with those people? And are you communicating authenticity, that you're a real person, something they can trust with fully? Or do you communicate inauthenticity where you're kind of showing something fake, or it just doesn't kind of seem to click? So when you are building your character, think about the character the homeowners want to work with. And generally, the homeowners want to work with a person that's honest, that's hardworking, that's something like them, right? Somebody like them, and somebody that's skillful, they have the knowledge, they're sharp, and they're also authentic, right? They're a real person that they can trust and work with. And when you're doing those things, again, remember, you need to communicate these things to the homeowners, right? They're not just going to understand them themselves, but rather you need to tell stories, you need to demonstrate different things. And when you're going to do those previous steps I mentioned to you correctly, right, and you add a great character, you're going to dominate the market 10 to 1 compared to anyone else.